Hi, this is Jeffrey, and in this video, I wanted to talk about the sad death of the digital point-and-shoot camera. So, why am I making this video? Well, you see, not too long ago, I wanted to buy a new digital camera. And so I went on Amazon and I took a look at what they had, and to my surprise, well, there's like very little. The only digital cameras they had for sale were these cheap $50 Chinese no-name cameras, or you would have to spend a lot of money, like $600, $700, $800 on a new digital camera from like Ricoh or maybe Sony. So why did this happen? Why did the digital camera basically disappear? Well, I think we sort of know the answer to this, and the answer is that smartphone cameras have really improved over the years to the point where it basically replaced the standalone digital camera. Now, is this a good thing or a bad thing? Well, I'll tell you something. For those of us who really like to use digital cameras the way we used to use them back in the 1990s and into the early to maybe mid-2000s, it's not a good thing. Because even though cell phone cameras or smartphone cameras have become really good, they're still not as good as the digital camera from like Canon or Panasonic or Sony or even Casio. And let me tell you something, the digital camera market back in the mid 1990s until the maybe mid 2000s or so, 2005, 2010, that market was huge. You just would not believe how many different types of digital cameras there were. Manufacturers like Canon had just a huge array of cameras. Panasonic also had some very good cameras. Casio had cameras. Sony had cameras. Kodak had cameras, although they were on the cheaper end of things. But there were so many manufacturers out there with so many different models that it was bewildering. And then suddenly it all just disappeared. Now, what I have here, what you are looking at, are just 3 of my digital cameras that I kept. They're all in like excellent condition, and I still have the boxes for them. I still have all of the accessories. I have the batteries, and they still work, and they are really great for photography, because when I compare the photographs from my smartphone, and right now I have a Samsung S23, it's still not really as good as what I would get from using, let's say, my Canon camera. Let's say the S110. That was like a mid-higher level type digital camera when it was produced. There was the Canon S80, I think the S90, S100, S110. Every year they came out with an improved model. And these cameras also have optical zooms, whereas a smartphone camera only has a digital zoom, so that's a drawback for smartphone cameras. And they had lots of different built-in features, all kinds of editing features that you can change the colors, you can change all different kinds of things, and they had all different kinds of modes that you can use that really don't even exist on smartphone cameras. So I was just really surprised to see that this whole industry, the standalone point-and-shoot digital camera industry, simply disappeared, like virtually overnight. You cannot get a new comparable digital camera like the ones I am showing you right here. Now, I have three cameras here, and I have two others I'll show you as well. So over here I have the Panasonic Lumix TZ3, the Canon S110, and the Canon Elph 500HS. And all of these three cameras are excellent in their own way. They each do something a little bit different, so they are not exactly the same. The Lumix TZ3 has a 10x optical zoom, which is excellent. It just takes really great pictures when you want to, zoom in 10 times. The Canon doesn't have as big as an optical zoom as the Panasonic. It has, I think, just a 3x optical zoom, but it takes slightly better pictures. It has a better sensor. And the Elph 500HS, it's a slightly lower model than the S110, but it's still quite good. It's a really good camera as well. So these three are considered compact cameras. They're just easy to carry around, and like I said, they take really great cameras. Now, I'm not going to go into an in-depth review of all of these cameras. If anyone wants to see a review, maybe I can do one another time. But I just wanted to talk about how disappointing it is that this kind of a camera, the point-and-shoot digital camera, especially the compact style, has simply disappeared. Now, if you are, let's say, 18, 19 years old, you probably didn't even own one of these cameras. You probably may not have even seen one of these cameras. So it's just really unbelievable when you think about it, how 15, 20 years ago this was such a huge industry, and now it's like simply gone. There were all of these websites like dpreview.com where people would show all of the photos that they take from their cameras, their digital cameras, and they would have a database of all cameras from all of the manufacturers, and it was just such a great resource, and you could compare camera to camera and see which one takes the best pictures, and then you decide for yourself what you want to purchase. These cameras came in a box that had many accessories. It came with a CD-ROM for editing software. It came with a battery charger, and then a full instruction booklet, many of them included. So to see that this kind of a thing has disappeared is really quite disappointing. Now, the other two cameras I have are an A620, a Canon A620, and a Canon G6, and both of those are just excellent as well. Now, as for what they sell today they only are, selling these cheap Chinese knockoffs that they're like no-name brands. They cost like $50 each. I have no idea if they're good or bad. Maybe I'll just buy one just for fun, just to take some pictures with it and compare it to the Canon camera or the Panasonic camera and see what it's like. There's various reviews on them. Some people say they're really good, other people say that they're terrible. But the thing is that there's probably nothing to compare it to, meaning that the people who are reviewing these cheap, $40, $50 Chinese digital cameras today probably never even owned a super high quality digital camera like these. I mean, these cameras that I have right here, the two Canons and the Panasonic, will probably last forever as long as you take care of it. The Canon S110, I use that a lot. It takes really great pictures. It has a really very good sensor. It takes decent video. Videos on these cameras were like secondary to still pictures. and the S110 does take 1080p video. The Panasonic Lumix, that does not take HD video. It only takes 480 by 640, I believe. And the Canon PowerShot Elph 500 HS, that also takes HD video. So not all of these compact digital cameras did take HD video, and 4K probably wasn't even a thought back then. Now the Canon S110, that was manufactured back in the era of Windows XP. Okay, so that's what it says on the box. It's, that was like the latest operating system that is noted on the box, Windows XP. But just the fantastic quality of how these cameras are made. I mean, when you feel these cameras in your hand, you will see how well that they were manufactured, especially if they were from Canon or Panasonic or Sony or one of the higher end manufacturers. If you bought one from like Kodak, it may not have been that good. And it was very interesting about Kodak, how they were kind of like late to the digital camera party. They at first didn't believe in digital cameras. They tried to stick to film cameras, but then overnight, film cameras basically, for the average user, disappeared. Film and film cameras still do exist, but film for the average user disappeared quite quickly and was replaced by digital cameras, because buying a digital camera was a really great investment. If you wanted to buy one for $250, $350, you would never have to buy film. You could take zillions of pictures, and it was just such a cost-saving measure. And the cost of buying a digital camera, especially a good one, would pay for itself over and over again. You didn't have to buy film. You didn't have to take it to a film developing place. And all of that got costly, because I remember that. I remember that back in like the 1980s and early 1990s, before digital cameras existed. So that's something that I recall, having to deal with film cameras, buying film, and then taking the film to a developing place. They had all these 1-hour photo processing places around here where, like in New York City. They were just everywhere. They were on every corner. And then, well, they just simply disappeared. Maybe you can find, I think you can find a place or two around, if you really look, that can process film, but they basically have all disappeared. So I just wanted to, give this little rant, as you can call it, on the death of the compact point-and-shoot digital camera, because these were such great devices. And as I said, I still use the Canon S110, and the other cameras work as well. If I am in a situation or going to a situation where I think I'm going to need a high optical zoom, I'll take the Panasonic with me. The only problem is that if the batteries die, I don't know if I could get new batteries. They all have rechargeable batteries. So finding rechargeable batteries for these cameras may be a bit of a problem in the future. I do have a camera, the A620, which takes AA batteries, and you could buy rechargeable for those, and those you could still find those, of course. And so, as long as the batteries charge, I could probably use these cameras forever. And I kept them in great condition, and they're like in mint condition. They're terrific. So I just wanted to speak about that. Now, what I want to do is to show you my two other cameras, the Canon G6 and the Canon A620. So let's take a look at those. Okay, so here's my Canon G6 on the upper left and the Canon A620 on the lower right. Now the Canon G6, the Canon PowerShot G6, that was an expensive camera. I think I bought it back in like 2004, and I paid $475 for it. This was like their basically their top-of-the-line digital camera. Now, the issue here with using the Canon PowerShot G6 is that it takes compact flash, which is not all that common today. So that's a little bit of a drawback, but not much. I really don't use this camera anymore. It's kind of big and heavy to carry around, so I have it here on display. And below that is the Canon A620, and this camera took fantastic pictures. This camera became like a real cult camera. It was cheap. I think it was like $250, and the pictures that it took was absolutely fantastic. And this is the camera that takes 4 AA batteries. You can buy rechargeable batteries. If you don't use rechargeable batteries, the batteries run out really quickly. So that's kind of a drawback. Whereas opposed to the other 3 Canon, or the other 2 Canon and the Panasonic camera that I just showed you, those have these much smaller rechargeable batteries, and they last quite a while. You can take hundreds of pictures with them before the batteries will start to run down. So I just wanted to show you the Canon G6 and the Canon A620. So just to show you, here are the back of these 3 digital cameras that I showed you in the beginning. The Panasonic Lumix TZ3 as well as the Canon S110 have a 4:3 ratio screen, while the Canon Elph 500 has a 16:9 screen. And the Canon S110 and the Elph 500 do take high definition videos, except only up to 1080p. Like I mentioned before, 4K didn't even exist back then. And I actually do take videos with the Canon S110. I have put videos on my channel here that were completely shot with the Canon S110, and so it still works pretty good. Whether it's for still photography or for videos, it's still quite useful. So I just wanted to talk about the sad, untimely death of the point-and-shoot digital camera. And it is just so disappointing that cameras like these, of a caliber such as this, as a quality such as these, are not even manufactured anymore. It's just really disappointing that you cannot buy these kinds of cameras anymore. You can get used ones on eBay, but who knows if they even work. I've looked up some of these cameras, and yeah, you could find them on eBay for kind of cheap, for probably even a little bit less than what I purchased these for, but who knows if they even work. They are often sometimes all scuffed up, and some features may not even be usable anymore, and so who knows what you're going to get if you buy them off of eBay. So like I said, it's just really, really disappointing that these kinds of cameras simply are not sold anymore. You can't get them on Amazon. You cannot buy them new. I think if you buy them new, you probably pay a huge amount of money for them new. So that's my rant for today. I just wanted to talk about the sad, unfortunate death of the point-and-shoot digital camera. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you have a digital camera, let me know what it is, because I'm interested in knowing what cameras like these people still have, if they have them at all. Because like I said, over the last few years, you were not able to buy these cameras. So again, thank you for watching this video, and as always, have a great day. Bye.